So as we continue to explore the brand that is CarePartners, so we continue to go over our 4 key concepts of the CarePartners brand, I want to bring us to the second one, and that is living the brand promise. And I want to explore that together and get a good idea of what it really means to be living the brand promise that we have at CarePartners. Now, if I have to provide an overview of what it means to be living the brand promise, let me share a few thoughts. The first step is seeing how the brand promise is delivered across all areas and aspects of CarePartners throughout the entire organization. That's the first step. Recognizing that delivery is not just at one point or another point, fulfillment of the brand promise. It's not just in one area or another, but it's throughout the entire organization. It's through the experiences that people have with CarePartners that they decide if we're living the brand promise, if we're fulfilling the promises that we've made through the CarePartners brand. And we really have to strive to understand those experiences from the other perspective, the perspective of the patients and families and referring physicians that we interact with. And remember, if we don't shape and determine our brand, our patients and families will determine it for us. And we want to have an idea that what they share represents what's important to us at CarePartners, the values, the mission of our organization, and why it matters to those we serve. By fulfilling our brand promise, that's the message that they will carry forward for us. And that's why this is so important that each and every day throughout the entire organization, in all aspects, we're living the brand promise. But you have to ask yourself a question sometime. What is a brand promise? Well, let me kind of give an idea of what that really means. A brand promise. It's a promise to our current and future patients, their families, referring physicians, key stakeholders, and philanthropic donors of the care, communication, and professional courtesy that we will provide each and every time, each interaction, each moment. That's the promise that we're making. Everything we do must support and reinforce our brand promise through our actions and the actions of everyone here at CarePartners. Everything we do has to support and reinforce that promise. Every time we keep our promise, we strengthen our brand. But every time we underdeliver or we break a promise, as seen from the perspective of the patients and families that we interact with, that we serve, we diminish the brand. We have to determine what we want our actions to be able to do each and every time we have a chance to strengthen or diminish. Let's continue to explore this idea. So living the brand promise means determining how others will see and experience CarePartners from their perspective. Employees on the front lines and those supporting them must be able to deliver on our promise. But in order to deliver on it, they must understand it, embrace it, and live it. And so we're going to talk about what that means to really understand, but really embrace and live the promise of CarePartners brand. Let me share some examples of others that have done this and kind of how that impacts the way in which they see themselves and the interaction. So the first one I have here is Ritz-Carlton, luxury hotel line, and their brand promise is ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen. But see, if I don't see myself, when I'm an employee of Ritz-Carlton, if I don't see myself as a lady and a gentleman, if I don't see myself as having that level of excellence, then I'm not going to be able to deliver that to someone who has an expectation of being treated like a lady or a gentleman. I have to embrace the fact that we as employees at Ritz-Carlton would be ladies and gentlemen, providing excellence to ladies and gentlemen. I have to live that and embrace it to fully deliver on the brand promise of this hotel. How about Geico? The brand promise. In 15 minutes or less, you can save 15% or more on your car insurance. Each time someone calls to explore what Geico could do for them on insurance, they have a chance to build this brand promise or deliver it. It's not the little gecko running around. It's the interactions that people have when they call to explore whether they can deliver on this brand promise. Starbucks, providing the highest quality coffee, exceptional customer service, and a truly uplifting Starbucks experience that's the same around the world. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about Starbucks because from some experiences I'll share, we can see how people have the ability to impact, as we talk about, through the experiences of others, strengthen or diminish the brand. We'll share a little bit more about Starbucks and some experiences that really kind of demonstrate that. So we also talked about some brands as they relate to healthcare. Let me bring back one of those brands and share their brand promise. Mayo, the Mayo Clinic, the brand promise, simple yet powerful. The needs of the patient come first. Every employee, everybody associated with the delivery of healthcare at Mayo has to embrace that brand promise. They have to live it, believe that the needs of the patient come first in all aspects. And we'll see that that's not just people delivering patient care, but it's all aspects that make the care possible at Mayo. Everybody has to live and embrace that brand promise. We'll talk a bit more about Mayo here as well as we go through our time together. Now, if you think about that, now I shared a couple that people might even have some experiences with. Perhaps you've called Geico or utilized them, or know somebody who has, or perhaps had a cup of coffee or a drink at Starbucks. I'm just thinking, I'd like you to pause just for a moment, reflect upon maybe the experiences that you've had with those companies. Perhaps someone you know has had an experience with some of those companies. And think about those experiences. Did they fulfill or build the brand promise, or did they diminish it because someone failed to deliver what the brand promise truly represented? Let's think about that for a moment in your experiences. And as we continue to explore what it means to live the brand promise, and you shift that perspective to the patient, the family, then I think we'll have a chance to see why this becomes so important each and every time. Living our brand promise means determining how others will see and experience CarePartners, because it's through their experiences that they determine if we have fulfilled or not lived up to our brand promise. So do you see the experiences of patients, their families, and referring physicians from their perspective? Do you see it from yours? Or can you begin to see what that moment in time, what those experiences are like from the other perspective? We'll continue to talk about why that's so important, because it's through those experiences that they determine if we fulfilled our brand promise. So I thought I'd go through a little activity here that would help you perhaps see things from a different perspective. And so to do that, it's almost a little bit of a pop quiz. And so here's what I'd like you to think about. You'll see the question that's up on the screen. What do you see? And it's not a trick question. Do you see an airplane? But my question for you is the plane coming towards you or flying away from you? And of course, the quick answer is yes, either, both, because it's a matter of perspective. You may see the plane coming toward you. The person next to you may see flying away from you. It's a matter of perspective. And it's actually the same way each and every interaction, each and every experience is that people have with CarePartners. Do they see us perhaps with the plane flying away, or is it coming toward us? Do you see that experience from your perspective? Or can you turn it around and see that same moment, that same experience from their perspective? So if you thought the plane was coming toward you, turn it around and think of it flying away from you. If you said, well, I saw it flying away from me, turn it around and think of it flying towards you. Because I'd like you to think about those experiences that you have. And as we continue to explore what it means living the brand promise, those experiences you have with patients, families, referring physicians, and continue to strive to see them from their perspective. So if living the brand promise requires us to understand the perspective of others engaging CarePartners, then we have to recognize that the experience and families and what's critical to living our brand, to be aware of every situation from the patient and family's perspective. For some, the perspective of referring physicians. But we have to see those moments from the other perspective in creating our brand and recognizing that each and every one of those interactions, those experiences that people have with our brand, with us at CarePartners, can shape our brand, can shape how they believe we fulfilled or didn't live up to our brand promise, means that we have to have focus and commitment each and every day, throughout each and every day, to fulfilling the brand promise in the roles that we play at CarePartners. Let me share a video that I think helps continue this, to explore this with us, and we'll come back together after that.
The level of care that I've received here has been, it's been phenomenal. Everybody here has an inborn fondness or a love for what they're doing, and that makes a big difference. It's not like they come and punch in and they do a job and they go home. It's something that they have a desire to do, and that makes a big difference in the level of care you get.
So as we see in that story, it certainly has an impact. when someone lives the brand promise.